What's up, everybody? This video is going to be a little different than the ones that I have uploaded on my channel already, but today I wanted to give like kind of a story time video because this situation was just on my mind for some reason or another, but it was a story that happened back in middle school, and I'd like to tell it because I've only ever told it, like between my friends and people who remember, this time period of my life and all that. Not trying to get too much out of the way. Let's get into it. So basically, this story started in 6th grade. It was the great year of 2016, the era of SoundCloud rap. If you were around for it, This story starts in my PE class of 6th grade. We had a substitute teacher that day, and we were all sitting in line, waiting for the PE teacher to give instructions. We were just fucking around. It was a substitute. I went to I wouldn't say a bad school, but the kids were troubled. Let's say that, So we were fucking off. We weren't really listening to them. Every time that a substitute came in, we all knew we're like, all right, yeah, we can get away with a bunch of shit here. Let's fuck off. Let's be the worst clowns that we can be. I wasn't really doing anything bad. We were all sitting in line, and I was trading Pokemon cards with this kid. I wasn't really big into it, but it was something that was big in the school at the time. I wanted the cool fucking Pokemon cards because I wanted to be like the rest of the kids. So I was trading Pokemon cards with this kid, and we're out of line. We're facing each other. The rest of the line is facing the front of the classroom or gymnasium, whatever. The substitute yells out, he's like, "Hey, there's no gambling in my class. You can't gamble in my class." And, since I was feeling brave because it was a substitute, I was like, dude, fuck off. Like this, we're not gambling. We're trading fucking Pokemon cards here. And I think I did use a couple of curse words. I wasn't cussing them out or anything, but I was a brave kid, like I wasn't afraid to use curse words in front of adults just because, that's what I was used to doing. I was used to cussing around my friends and shit. So I told him, I was like, yeah, man, we're just trading Pokemon cards here. And he was like, oh, give them to me. Give me the Pokemon cards. And I was like, well, they're not really mine to give because they belong to so-and-so. We haven't really decided on a trade yet. And at this point, like the whole fucking class was looking at us. The whole gymnasium was looking at us because the substitute, he was raising hell about it, and I didn't get why. So I was being a smart ass. I was being a little shit. I told him no, like multiple times. I said, they're not my cards to give. I handed them back to the kid who gave them to me, and I said, if you want them, you can take them from this kid. And he just fucking blew his lid. Get the fuck out of my class. Get out. Get out. Go to the hallway. He didn't send me to the dean. He didn't send me anywhere. He gave me no direction. So I went to the hallway instead. And as I walked out into the hallway, I saw a group of kids that were, they were also kicked out of class. I don't remember who these kids were, but I remembered seeing them around school, and I knew that they were always out of class for one reason or another. They just knew if they got in trouble that they would get kicked out, you know what I'm saying? So I saw these kids. I walked over to them because, I had nowhere else to go. He didn't give me any direction. So I was basically like, yo, what's up, y'all? Like, what's going on? As soon as they saw me, they were like, man, what the fuck did you do? Because I was a little white kid, bald ass head. I was like 4'11", fucking 90 pounds. They were like, damn, Evan, you got in trouble? Like, what the fuck are you doing to get in trouble? I told them the story, and they just kind of laughed. And there was kind of like a section in the back of the school where no one really like trafficked that area. Like it was just kind of a dead space, where they stored shit and everything. So we were hanging out there because I don't know if those kids were sent to the dean, but I wasn't sent to the dean, and we were all avoiding the dean, basically. And we got into this hallway, and like these kids started slap boxing and shit. We were causing a ruckus. Anyone who worked down there I'm sure would have called the dean because there were a bunch of kids yelling, screaming, cussing, making jokes that were way too young for our age. And slapboxing is pretty damn loud. So we had one kid who was like a lookout, basically. He was looking around the corner, and all these kids were slapboxing. I was laughing, watching it. And all of a sudden, this kid goes, "Go, go, 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 go." And after he said that, we started to hear the fucking sound of keys jingling. You know what I'm talking about. If you're a bad kid, even if you're a good kid, you know the sound that deans walk around with all the fucking keys. The hallway we were in, it led out to like a back area of the school that no one really like went to. And so we run out of the double doors. All the kids, they blitzed to the left. They ran to the left, and I was just kind of like shocked. I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? What do I do? So I ran to the right, and just the way that my school was set up, like I was basically surrounded by 3 walls on each side, and I had no way out. I'd ran the wrong direction, but for some reason or another, there was this car that was parked with a cover over it. So I duck under this car, and I crawl under this car with my fucking backpack on, and I'm hiding under there. I feel like a Spec Ops soldier, in a mission. I'm stealth. I'm very stealth. I'm not even trying to breathe, nothing. And I fucking hear the double doors open. They creak open, and I hear keys jingling. The doors shut after that. And I stayed there for a good 5 minutes listening, because I was waiting to hear the sound of keys jingling, like walking around the car or anything. But there was nothing. So after about 5 minutes, I crawled out from underneath. I look around. There's no one there. And I was like, okay, all right, I might be in the clear. So I walked kind of around this area that I was stuck in, through these double doors that led into another area of the school. Still, I had nowhere to go. I was in trouble. I was supposed to go to the dean's office, I guess, but I didn't go there. And I didn't go there because it was 6th period, it was the end of the day. And I was like, fuck it, man. I'm not spending the last couple hours or 50 minutes in the dean's office. So I wandered down the hallway for a little bit, and I came across the bathroom, and I walked in the bathroom, and I just kind of sat in one of the stalls, played on my phone. And all of a sudden, I hear the fucking door open to the bathroom while I'm locked in this stall. And so I put my feet up immediately, because you know how a middle school bathroom is. Even if it's a dean, if it's a student, you just don't want anyone catching you in there. And all I heard was keys jingling. The same, it was like the same rattle, You could tell the deans, if you were a bad kid, by the jingle of their keys, how many keys they had on their belt. And I knew, I was like, that's the same fucking dean that was just looking for me. And so I had my feet up on the toilet, and I was like, oh shit, he's looking for me. And I hear the keys rattle past my stall, and they stopped right in front of my stall. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck, man, he caught me, I'm done. And then I hear the sound of shh, like the motherfucker was taking a piss in the urinal. And I still had my feet up, dude. I was holding my fucking breath. I was like, oh God, I can't get caught right now. Dude, basically, he took his piss and he left the bathroom. I remember, again, I waited another 5 minutes, and I walked out of the hallway. There was no one there. And I think there was, only at that point, 10 minutes until the bell rang. So I just wandered around. I was looking for the kids that I originally got involved with after I got kicked out, but I couldn't find them. And, after that, I fucking, left school after that 10 minutes was up, and I walked home. And I remember, telling it now, it doesn't really feel like a crazy story, but at the time, it was just I felt like a fucking, like I said earlier, a Spec Ops operator. I was in a stealth mission or something, and I had to escape them. It was so funny. Looking back on it, it really wasn't that big of a deal, but at the time I thought I was some fucking stealth ninja. But yeah, that's really all I got for this episode. I think after that I went home, nothing happened. I never got caught. I remember that story because of how just like pumped my adrenaline was and all that shit. But anyways, if you like this story or you feel like this story related to you in any way, let me know in the comments. I'd love to read your stories. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.